Okay, so up to this point, there's a whole lot to go through. But how many classes of fish are there?
Too many.
There's probably a lot of species, yes, but classes of fish.
2.
No.
3.
Yes. How are they different?
Jawless.
Okay, some are jawless.
Boneless.
Well, that's really not a way you want to term it.
Some boneless.
Well, they all have to have bones in them. But, so if they don't have bones in them, they must be composed of what instead? Cartilage. Okay? So, scientific name for cartilage is chondrocyte. That's what that means. So then we're referring to, of course, the sharks. So here we call them chondrocytes. And then finally, an osteocyte is a bone cell. There's your bone. But what are some structural differences between sharks and bony fish? What could be a respiration? How's that? Doesn't necessarily have to be respiration. That's we talked about that yesterday with bony fish. You could use movement as one. Let's say something about food gathering as another. Just yes.
I remember.
Okay. Well, how do fish float?
With their
A little more specific, though. You're right. Halfway.
They float because they can.
Okay.
Sharks float because they're greasy.
Yeah, okay. But from what though? Their liver. Yeah, their liver. Okay. So then with your bony fish, you said that they will, let's say, adjust their volume in two ways. One of them is that gas gland or swim bladder, like you had talked about. And the other is going to be a little bit what we're going to discuss today. We'll finish this chapter, as you can see, on Friday. And you have an evaluation tomorrow, short one, and you have some papers that are due as well. Okay? So if this is ascending, okay, what's the bladder doing? The swim bladder. Right. It has to. Why? Well, it doesn't have to, but it does. Because when it expands, it's filled with water. Air, which is a gas. That's right. So as that expands, it becomes lighter as opposed to being compressed when it's descending. Okay. So what do you suppose it would be? Was the idea of, and it happens in a lot of animals, and even with us as well. We really can't tolerate cold temperatures of blood returning to our hearts. It's how you can go into shock, which means your heart's going to go to, I believe, a type of dysrhythmia. And that's why hypothermia can be so life-threatening. But if you're standing on ice all the time, like penguins are, which are a type of bird, which I realize we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, what is it that keeps, let's say, cold blood from getting back into their heart, even though they're standing on ice or cold temperatures all day long? And it's not so much that has to do with their insulation, because even when you look back at Jerry back there above the door, yes, birds have feathers for a lot of their body, even covering the majority of their structures, with the exception of his talons. Yeah, I think it's a male. I think you make that presumption since they call Jerry 4 years ago. But when we're talking about talons, what's that specifically associated? Whether it's a hawk, whether it's an eagle, whether it's an owl. Yeah, it's claws on its feet, which do not have feathers on them. Instead, they're scales. Okay, which we would associate with reptiles. But when it comes to penguins, when they're standing on these cold temperatures, again, there's some scales down there because of what you would see with modern birds. So why is that blood not so cold when it's coming from their feet back to their heart? Do you think?
Scales holding it up.
Well, you would think so, but there's something that's moving in both directions. You know anything, even with human anatomy, okay? As you have your abdominal aorta, when it gets down into your epigastric area, it splits down and go into the legs, and those are called what we call iliac arteries. But your iliac artery is right next to the iliac vein. So with humans as well, when you have cold blood coming back from your extremities, especially in your legs, that iliac artery is right next to that iliac vein. So if this is coming out of our core, that core temperature is cold or fairly warm, do you think?
Fairly warm.
It should be fairly warm, somewhere in the mid 90s, I would guess. So then the blood from your feet, I wouldn't know what the temperature range would be, but I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination saying it's in the 70s when it's coming back. So if it's 70 degrees in your feet, why is it not 70 degrees in your heart? Remember, what's this indicating right here? Because what do arteries do with blood? They carry them away or towards the heart? Well, they can, but you got to be specific. They carry it away, okay? And the veins bring the blood back to the heart. So as this warm blood is going down, what's the heat doing next to the vein that's bringing it back? Yeah, heat flows from where it's cold. So it flows back to the vein, so it comes back to the heart. So what that means is that heat will dissipate, okay? And with that, and that's what happens with penguins as well. So what happens is in this structure, it's called a respiral, I think is the exact name. What we see happening, it's not on this slide, but it is on this. Oh, my. Is this where we start? We talked about this, right? Or is this where we left off? Shoot, I got mixed up.
Going north.
Backwards?
Forward.
Forwards. Oh, I remember talking about this. I got my bicycle pump out. So talking about pneumatic tools. Okay? So another one forward. Okay. This is where, now I remember talking about two ways. Okay? So a swim bladder, a gas gland, that's one. Okay? That's one of the two ways that they would adjust the volume inside their swim bladder. Then, then the other one is this structure when we get down here. Okay? So we got this network of blood capillaries. And for the most part, when we associate capillaries, it's always going to be gas exchange. Because your four movements across the cell membrane, remember, are diffusion, osmosis, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. So in this case, blood vessels this small, blood gases can diffuse across them very easily. So what we see here, there's a counter current exchange, kind of like the heat dissipating from an artery into a vein. So what happens is as this blood is flowing through here, those trapped gases will go from this structure, okay, right here, this network capillaries, and right in to the rest of the bloodstream as water is going over the top of these. Okay? So again, one way is this oxygen is extracted from the gills, okay, and put into the gas gland. The other way is this readmirable, okay, where it's extracted from this network of capillaries and will adjust the volume then as well. And it used to be years ago, the idea of, let's say, treating people with hypothermia has changed over the last 30 years. What would happen is we would, I should say we would, but possibly emergency rooms, maybe across the country, would want to put them into a hot water bath. And that's really a bad idea. Okay? And of course, we know that as time goes on. And the reason we say that is what happens to, like, even the gas in your tires, the air in your tires, for instance. When it gets cold like this last cold snap we had, what's that air doing? Does it expand or does it contract when it gets cold? Of course, it's going to contract. So think of what happens with your arteries and veins when they get cold. It's not the gases in there that cause them to contract like this. For some of you farmers out there, okay, there's nothing worse than trying to whether you have to maybe tighten a belt on the alternator on your tractor or change a fuel pump or something where you can't have your gloves on, but you got to take them off to use a wrench. After time, you've probably all been there. Your fingers get so sore and they're numb, and that's no surprise. Why is it doing that? Yeah, I understand your gloves are off and it's cold outside, but what's happening in your fingers? Exactly. Why is that? You're right. What's the body naturally diverting? Are you getting an adequate blood supply to your extremities? No, and that's why them ice crystals form, just like what you said. So what happens is when you warm them fingers up, it kind of stings a little bit, doesn't it? So what happens is those ice crystals are starting to melt, and inside your extremities, it's moving some of that, you could say, really small tissue, and you got many nerve endings in here, and that's why it hurts so bad. But if you're not getting much blood because it's diverting to keep your core warm, what's going to happen if you're placed into a really hot water bath when you got all of these little capillaries that are shunted or shut off? What do you think? If it's really cold, then you're put into something really warm, what are the capillaries going to do you think? Say that you're doing it, but you're not saying it. Yeah, they're going to expand like this, and then what do you think your blood pressure is going to do? It's going to go down a lot. Okay? That's why people can go in shock from something like this. Okay? So, as we continue, then we got one more. These are just a couple structures. Okay? This is what covers the gills. Okay? And it has that structure, richly supplied with those blood vessels. And then this is the cover that you would associate with bony fish that covers that pharyngeal cavity. Okay. Now, we're not talking about the mouth up here. We're talking about the sides. It's covering those gill slits. That portion of the pharyngeal cavity.
They do that to some Navy SEALs or something. They get them on like the verge of hypothermia for a couple of days.
I don't know. I don't think so. I've seen a documentary where they do it with the Rangers too. So I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination. Because I think it's the thought process that they're trying to train those elite soldiers with as far as making good decisions when you have so many distractions. I'm just laughing at some of my own examples growing up on a farm, and I'm just thinking that maybe in some of your cases as well, you're working on something like that, and your fingers are frozen, and the boss, DAD, says, "Hurry up!" Does any of that sound familiar? It's it's kind of like you're. It's not that you're not thinking correctly. It's just hard to concentrate when your extremities are so full. So then, I guess I never did explain what we actually do now is probably divert their blood into a blood lung machine and just gradually warm them up. And I would be guilty of this too, going in and getting really hot water to put my hands underneath there. Then it really sticks. I really think the best thing to do would be to run cold water over your hands first. So that's still going to be warmer than what they are right now, and then just gradually let them warm up. And it probably will take some of the sting out. With that, I don't think that leaves a whole lot of information left. We have some papers that are due tomorrow, and I understand you may have to look some of that information up in your sort of textbook. So, we'll camp quiz tomorrow. We'll wrap this up on Friday. So, we will catch up to you next time.